I think sometimes it's good as well, to be okay with ourselves that we're going to have a lot of jobs in our life. We're going to know a lot of good systems, bad systems, okay system, corporate system, institutional systems, all types, right? If it wasn't one distracting me from the other, it was the other way around. I think it was fun to just get out of town, especially living in Humboldt. And they all got their loopholes in a sense where like retention and finding the right person or the qualified or the degree appropriate person to sustain that job. I didn't have a job and all I had was running and that was so good. But I did not have a job.
So you would say a 10K is too light compared to running a business?
Yeah, like that's light work.
Welcome to the podcast, Rosa.
Thank you.
It's quite an honor to have you on, and we're very excited to interview you and get into your story. Guess to start it off, what brought you to Humboldt?
Oh man, 2017 seems like a long time ago, but not that long because it just felt like yesterday. Really running and the school for sure. The price of the school was nice, especially growing up with like low-income family, you struggle. So I think it was a good deal to, sign myself up for a good 4 years and see what I can whip out as a degree.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up and how did you find Humboldt and like what was that process like?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Rio Grande as well as Santa Maria, very small rural indigenous area down there. And I guess I was in AVID class and we were all signing up for colleges and it was getting up to that, time to apply. And, we also have that influence with runners in the running that were seniors and juniors that were applying for colleges already or had gone into some. And so there was that like social pressure of like, all right, what's next? So I think picking Humboldt was what definitely brought me here. Yeah.
Was there any other schools that you were looking at when you were applying? What were those other schools?
Yeah, definitely some schools down in the southern area. There's a list, and but I think like the biggest thing was being able to run. Like I wanted to go to a college that allowed me to run, and I also wanted to go to college where I wasn't the fastest one or even the slowest one. Like I wanted to be mid, so I can do work.
Yeah. There you go.
Have people to chase.
You wanted to be like middle of the pack.
Yeah, like I wanted to be mid, so I can like see what was better, and then also have motivation of like, oh, like I don't want to be like that.
Totally.
And at the time, what was the athletics department like at Cal Poly? Because that was, believe it or not, 9 years ago. So like
there was a football team.
Yeah, I heard about that when I came here, and I heard that they closed down in 2018.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like that would have been so fun to like go with all your friends on like a Friday night or something and watch the game.
Yeah, have some nachos.
Yeah. So based on what you're doing right now with Cal Poly, do you think it's the same? Has it changed? Is it better? Is it worse now? Like what's the athletic department looking like there?
Yeah, I would say it's gone better. Because there's just more funding.
That's good.
Just makes everybody happy, all around. And I think there's just, they switched from Adidas to Nike. And so that really helped to like get more gear for the kids and more shoes and all that good stuff.
The funding must have helped there too.
Yeah. I mean, if you go in there, they have I was just in there a couple of days for one of the track meets for the kiddos. I think they had the Cal Poly relays. And they just had TVs and you can click around and get to like navigate your way to like getting to know the athletic department, but on a TV. And it was like touch screen and everything.
Yeah, like a touch screen directory where you can see the players and maybe their statistics. And that's awesome.
I know, and they had 2 of those. There goes the funding.
Request to have those at the basketball games.
Yes.
I go to the basketball games. I still go back, even after graduating.
I love it, yeah.
And it's always cool to be involved in those sports and sports are a beautiful thing. It's bigger than the court or the field.
Yeah.
And that's great that you that's such a big part of your life is running. And so that's a big reason why, you come up to Humboldt, because you get the opportunity to run for Humboldt State University. And so, yeah, that's great. And I want to ask, what was your major and what made you choose that major to study?
I was actually a biology major when I got accepted to Cal Poly Humboldt. Humboldt State, you're right. Humboldt State was back in the day. So I started as a biology major. I think it was like freshman or sophomore year. I like switched over to social work. Just kind of had like some moments where I went to the CAPS and was like, I need some help a little bit, and I think getting to talk to those advisors and getting to talk to those therapists that were there, getting to know what they do for their jobs and how they got their credentials, what credentials did they even get, was like definitely things that popped into my head that I think led up to the social work degree. And then also just being part of the foster care system essentially as well too. I think just trying to be a good social worker and just a good community member and just give back without any cost, I think it's a huge barrier to a lot of people. So just being able to provide that, I think, was huge to become a social worker. Yeah, and I think I ended up doing that, and knew right away I wanted to go into the Masters of Social Work, and I wanted to do the full route of that. And I knew it was going to take some time, but I wanted to have fun.
Did you make that jump from bachelor's to master's like right after? Or did you take like an extended period of time off? Because I know there's that route too. Yeah, no, I just went straight to it. I was like, let's just grind it all out and just get it done. And it was something I like wanted to, and I knew I was going to do. It was just a matter of like doing it and executing it at the end. Yeah.
During your studies, you ran cross country and track. Tell me, was it difficult to balance, that sport and your education, and how did you find that balance between the two?
Yeah, it was difficult. I think if it wasn't one distracting me from the other, it was the other way around. I think it was fun to just get out of town, especially living in Humboldt, and especially being one that lived down in the southern area, like having everything accessible. I think it's something that we miss here and are developing as well too, and so it takes people to stay here and do some work here too.
True. What that's actually a great point.
Yeah.
What do you think is the difference from living in a rural town up in Northern California versus a rural town in Southern California?
Yeah, just different barriers, I guess. Like housing is more expensive there. Rent here is less expensive, but food's really expensive. But then food out there ain't expensive, and it's good, juicy fruit. You know what I mean? And so I think it's got like everywhere we go, there's gonna be the balance of having to figure out like, okay, what do I need to spend and focus on my money on, and just kind of balance yourself out that way.
Yeah. What do you think? I guess we can get into this now. But what is the thing that's holding people from staying in Humboldt versus, I can just go back home and find work in the Bay Area or Southern California or a different state that they're from?
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it, work. Like an opportunity to get a job and just to get connected, like apply themselves to a job. And just feeling like it's okay to be vulnerable with those jobs that you're applying, and be like, hey, I want to stay here. I need a job so I can pay for these bills. Like, I'm committed, like, and really use your education to your advantage, but also be flexible as an employee, that there's going to be other areas you got to tap into that are probably not going to be applicable to your degree. And it's okay. It doesn't take away from those expertise by any means. Yeah.
Sort of like if you're working as an associate, you got to take on some management stuff, but for that same pay. Or if you are a manager, you have to tap into the associate realm as well, and like kind of cover all bases.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen that a lot out here. And also I've seen like the lack of like a good working environment too. Because like
Yeah.
I heard somebody here today, they are trying to hire, but hiring's not an issue, or hiring is an issue, because a lot of people like don't have the willingness to like get out there and work and apply themselves, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And we've had other guests on that have had that same feeling, like because they're employers too.
Yeah.
And and on the flip side of that, like the work environments, some of them are like unbearable. Like I had a job here that, you know, the work environment slowly was deteriorating. So it's kind of a hard balance. And like, I guess my question for this is like, what has been your luck with finding work out here, and how have you been able to foster meaningful relationships within those roles?
Yeah, I think something I've noticed is like recognize the space that you're in and be able to assess the situation. And I think I've balanced my relationships pretty well by just assessing the situation and be like, you know what, like maybe it is time for change, and maybe like this is as far as we got, and like maybe the feelings we feel or just the emotions of the success and everything we've been through with that business, but I think sometimes it's good as well, to be okay with ourselves that we're gonna have a lot of jobs in our life, and we're gonna know a lot of good systems, bad systems, okay system, corporate system, institutional systems, all types, right? Even county systems. And so it's just like, and they all got their I would say their loopholes in a sense, where like retention and finding the right person or the qualified or the degree appropriate person to sustain that job or be able to fulfill that job is there, I suppose. But I would say that just building healthy relationships by knowing like, okay, am I doing the work? And checking in with your bosses, I think is huge. Just being like, is there anything I can do better? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's huge. Like, not a lot of people do that. Like, I think it's scary to tell them and ask them what you could do better.
Yeah, I think being a team player is how you can succeed in a job role somewhere like a rural town in Northern California, because there isn't a big pool to work with. Like there's only a few companies that hire if you can get that job, especially today. And just like you have to kind of grow out of that mold that you're trying to be in, and like not think too just like one way, So I think being a team player definitely helps. And I feel like that's where a lot of success comes in.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, what do you think your favorite, I guess, institutional style is? Like corporate or institutional or county, or
my favorite one would be,
or local?
I don't know. I think I'm just that. I think I've always had this as a kid as well, that I just wanted to try them all, just to see, just to test them all out and see which one I like the most. And I think I definitely have had some institutional ones, which are good, but sometimes, I think with all the systems, I think it's there's some good and bad there, but I think for sure institution systems are probably not the great, but I would say, I don't know, just like I don't know if that's an option, like grassroots, just like small
like local,
businesses,
right?
like local, like I think we all just there's a lot of research out there that just says it's better. It's just better.
It's my favorite.
Cleaner, just local, help your own community out.
I think I have a little bit of bias with that because I work in it. Yeah. So I'm like, local is my favorite. But I'm sure
it's good for you.
It is, yeah. I really like you get really close with the people you work with, with some so local, and there's no real like amount of layers in between the owner and you.
Are you interested in starting a small business? We've had the opportunity to interview dozens of local entrepreneurs behind the Redwood curtain. You can reach out to your local small business development center to receive free one-on-one advising today. Back to the show.
Did your degree help you secure gainful employment after graduating? Was the money that you invested in your education worth it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good baseline for me to have, and I think the business licensure stuff is a lot more important. I think the social work degrees gave me the foundation, but being able to like turn it into a business was a whole different other dimension that I think I kind of fished out when I was in the master's program. Yeah.
But because sometimes I think, what if I didn't go to college? What if I just started working right out of high school and I built my career that way? Do you feel like you could have built a social work career that way without a higher education and just taking your whatever amount of money that you put in your education and let's say you put that money into a business?
Yeah.
Do you think that alternative route would have and could have been more successful? Or do you think that the investment into your higher education was the only way to get into that field?
Yeah, I think my education definitely helped with that. I think it was definitely worth to get it, but it did not guarantee me a job. I think I had to do some work behind that, especially being a non-American yet.
There's this whole whole
Yeah.
stigma on applying what you've taught from others or been taught from others into yourself, like not like you can't be self-made.
Yeah.
And I like that you said that you had to be the one to go out and apply and meet these people and get that job, because a lot of people, I mean, some people, get lucky with things being handed to them, but a lot of people assume that things are going to be handed to them. But in reality, if they don't put in the work or they don't apply anything they were taught in school or from a mentor, from their parents, like they're just going to be couch potatoes.
Yeah.
So I like that you mentioned
like a type of hunger. How hungry are you?
Exactly.
It's like if you grew up with very little, it's like, oh, you want to do good work. You want to complete the task. You want to move on to the next thing. You don't want to get stuck on the yada yada. You want to like build it up, make it better, move on to the next. And
like what you said with working in a competitive environment, like there was still like, even if you're not working in a competitive environment, it was competitive to get where you are at right now, because there was a pool of people probably, right, that you applied with, and you made those connections. You went out and met those people. You met Will. You got mentored by Will, and he was like, I want you for the job.
I would say that competitive wise, like compared to a lot of my peers at Cal Poly Humboldt, I was more competitive, and that's why I was able to find gainful employment while others weren't. There were people in my class that were much better accountants than me. They were got better grades. They were harder workers, probably smarter. And I was able to, find a job over them because, I did this, and that. I had a very direct approach. I wasn't at Cal Poly Humboldt to learn. I was at Cal Poly Humboldt to find work. To get paid. And a lot of students were there to learn. And then they're like, "Oh, I learned all this stuff." And then they graduate, and they're trying to find a job, but all their
and the pressure of the parents being like, "Wow, you got this degree and you can't even find a job." That actually is probably what turns 90% of those kids.
And what they didn't realize was they were supposed to find a job in the last 4 years while they were at college. And I have this whole theory on I think college that should be the ultimate reason. It's a whole tangent, but
keep going, bro.
I think
education should be available for everybody, and we know that over a lot of years of research that it has not been available for a lot of people. And so I think you're right, it just goes back to the how hungry are you to get this done? But like you said, like some kids come into college like with that mindset of like, all right, I'm here to learn, but I'm here to replicate whatever, even replicate everything my professors give me, so that one day maybe I'll get a job by showing them all of the things I've collected over the years. Even just that simple thing can get you pretty far, you know what I mean? But like that type of mentality, I think even as a kid, or like coming in, like that was it for me. Like saving everything, even the trainings, the worksheets, the slideshows, like everything, so that like when you do go to the field, you apply yourself and you have resources. You've done some research reports. You know, you have some of those things. I think sometimes kids just go through the college experience and they just trash everything, and it's like, dude, that's all your work. All your work. That's what costs you money.
Yeah, and they do
Use
all
that.
they do all that, and then the only thing on their mind still after all of that 4, 5, 6 years of going to school and going to these shitty classes that they don't want to pay attention in, and the only thing they're focused on is, what am I going to drink? What am I going to have to drink with my friends on Friday? And that's something that he brought up to me. Like a lot of people are like, there's people in their 20s who are older than us, and it's like, what am I going to have to drink on Friday night with the boys?
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing, bro? But I want to pivot a little bit, and because you're doing running and social work, where did the business mindset come from to start Humboldt Runners? Shout out, link in the description.
You know, I hit a point where I was a runner, elite runner up here in the Hoka Aggies team, and they're originated from San Luis Obispo, but they have a bunch of runners in the Bay Area and up here as well, and we're kind of growing. And during that time, I would say I really just wanted to come into the Hoka Aggies team to run fast, but also realize that being in Humboldt and staying in Humboldt and being a community leader and serving my degree that I got here, you know, for the community, I think was the service that I felt like I needed to do and stay here to do. And so it was nice to have a club team that was flexible with me, to be able to stay here and still be able to run and go back and compete for them. So I think just having those experiences, like the run club with the Hoka Aggies team, and having, you know, other run clubs when I was a kiddo in high school, they all kind of like looped into a moment where I think I didn't have a job, and all I had was running, and I was so good. But I did not have a job. And I think in that moment just something clicked and was like, no, like I think I want to create something for runners where, like, especially here where there's a pathway to elite running, to know what that even is like, what schedules, what good races to go to, what type of training to do, what type of races to jump into. Just knowing about the history of running in itself, you know, an Olympic side of it, not my lens, but books that I've, resources that I've like collected that have helped me get to this point. And so I think just being able to be that resource and create Humboldt Runners was like huge for the startup of Humboldt Runners. And at first it was just me, and I just started to jump into other clubs like the Six Rivers, which is older individuals that run, which is great, love them. And then we got Raccoon Runners, who does like some trail running, and they're just like so cool, like love them. Like that, they really sparked an interest for Humboldt Runners to be Humboldt Runners because of all these cool people we met. You know, Pete Ciotti does the 5 a.m. club and was also doing the Run with Christ group. And there was a moment where I didn't want to run alone, you know, coming from a good amount of years running at Cal Poly Humboldt, you know, 6 years, having a team, you know, at all times, be able to train with them, do long runs, workouts, everything. Like going to not having that is a really big challenge in how people can actually become and start training to mentally feel elite runners, you know. And And so I think just being able to replicate that all in all for people is pretty cool to be able to do for them, because there was a point where I had to do it for myself.
We were talking before this podcast, we were just talking about how it's important to keep, your school sports alive even after graduating or being done with school.
Yeah.
And you ran in school, but you continue to run even after school. And I think that's really great, and for me, that's inspiring because I played basketball in high school and I still try to play basketball today, and pick up and just even just going to the park and shooting hoops by myself. It's good. It's good for you mentally. It's good for you physically. It's good for your soul.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you continue to, this passion of running.
Yeah.
And so you study social work, you get your job in social work, but you still have this deep passion behind running.
Yeah.
And my question is, do you ever see your entrepreneurial journeys combined with your passion for running becoming a primary source of revenue for you personally? Or do you feel like it's do you feel like you're do you feel like it could one day replace your day-to-day job?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that all the time. I think it slowly will. But I think it's a 15, 20-year plan, that you're really talking about, and you just got to honker in and do the work, get those licensures and like do your thing, but I think collaborating both has always been my dream, in a sense of like having a run club, and I think I'm like building both. I think that's just part of business, is you just like build, and then eventually you get to this goal that you want, And so I think with Humboldt Runners, creating the club and having that community here and building and having events and like small little like gift card giveaways, that type of stuff, I think it would be cool to eventually bring in programs like especially for kiddos with disabilities, adults with disabilities, especially undocumented individuals. We go through a lot of stress every single day. Every single day, and it does not go away. So it's like, get up, put your shoes, go run. We can't change the world in one day, and there's just, I think it's important to move the body. There's so much research that really helps with the nervous system, hunger, mood, like just a lot of things, depression, anxiety, ADHD, like it just helps with a lot of different diagnoses and symptoms and things that I think we could easily help ourselves, because even healthcare is really expensive these days for people, you know what I mean? And not everybody gets it. So
Totally.
I think it's important.
I think, tying in, your health to exercise is good, especially for the youth, when you're educating them and teaching them athletic activity, but also teaching them the importance behind athletic activity. So I like that touch on it, and combining the two, your career and your passion, and making something out of the both. I really like that. That's a good take on that.
Yeah. I think getting the LCSW and even additional BCBA credentials, I think that's what will allow you to, make more programs, make those programs, and then continue to help, community members and other programs and things that they need, it's huge.
I had an idea, definitely. I had an idea because you were talking about starting programs. This is all within Humboldt Runners, right? With other companies like Pillar 5, or what a shout out Pillar 5. Got to get you on the pod soon. And I think it'd be cool because you don't have to completely drop that relationship. You can evolve it into like working with them with these programs, getting those kids out there and learning life skills and stuff. And I also had another thing too. There's a rhetoric around lifestyle, or like starting a business with a plan to exit, or growing into some sort of like corporate structure. Like people want to build their businesses as big as possible. Some people want to grow it into businesses that do, $1 to $2 million a year and pull out like 200 grand and live comfortably. Like, Where do you see yourself taking Humboldt Runners? Do you want to scale it up like that, or do you want it to be comfortable to suit your lifestyle?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I don't know. I just want to do good work. And I think I would say for sure. Eventually, it would be cool to scale it, but I think Humboldt Runners has a very unique, in very particular interest to it, especially around this area. Um, and there's not a lot of people doing that in particular, going in the elite side of it and being like, all right, like, there's clubs and there's more clubs and there's advisors and everything, but in the good runners back in the day too, you know what I mean? But like, I think in business all is open for grabs, and like just do good work.
Do you recommend higher education to other young undocumented individuals looking to pursue a career?
Yes, 100%. It teaches. Again, there's only so much we can do in one day, and so I think like them applying themselves to get a degree only makes their application better. You know what I mean? In a sense where it does put us in a different category when you get 1 degree, when you get 2 degrees, especially when you're applying for citizenship. And so I think it builds a good case, And so if you're applying yourself and trying to get a degree, more so would they want to give citizenship, because they're like, oh, this person's like pending because they could get a job right now and be useful to the community or whatnot. And I think that's just how I've seen it work.
I was curious because you're talking about with Humboldt Runners becoming the people who train with you.
Yeah.
You want them to grow into elite runners.
Yeah. So what it first turned up to be was we were just doing a run club, just a place for people to come and run, and just we post like weekly schedules of Monday through Sunday of different runs that different run clubs are doing, or like that they communicate us to put on the schedule, and so we'll do that, I think, for them. But I think Humboldt Runners has now, over like a year, has turned more into specific inquiries of specific athletes that need support that are around this area. So some cool highlights I would say is like we have like top male female runner from Fortuna that we work with, and we work with their parents and we work with them in the summers, and we give them more one-on-one support in the summertime for free.
And what exactly is Humboldt Runners? Can you give us like a breakdown, and for the audience too, like
a 3-minute spiel?
Yeah, what is Humboldt Runners? What exactly are you doing other than turning runners into elite runners, and like what I guess is your overall goal for Humboldt County?
Yeah, I would say my goal for what is Humboldt Runners? I would say it's a club that definitely organizes a weekly schedule for you as a runner to be able to go out and just get to meet people, become social, or get to socialize a lot of the times. Bring your dog, bring your cat, whatever. It's fun. And I would say it's a place to do all that. So I would say Humboldt Runners is a good community. We've gotten some people from down the bay that have come to visit us that said we were very fun, kind, and spontaneous runners that say hi to people outside when they're passing them. And it's like when you're passing people, it's like 4 of you saying hi to one individual, so it just makes that person's day. So it's just these like fun people that are just working all day and just want to go have fun in the afternoon and go for runs. And so I would say it's a safe place for people to come and run. I'd say goals for Humboldt Runners. I would say this kind of, I would say, started working on its own in a sense where we started to get inquiries from people that were like, hey, like, can you coach my daughter? Can you coach my son? Like, whatever you're doing, we like it. And I think part of it too is sometimes coaching the parents as well too, like ways to respond, ways to cheer better that they might respond better to, all those types of stuff. And I think that kind of just checked itself. I think that wrote itself on its own as a goal, checked its own self out. And I think we're just at this point where we're like, oh, actually, I think we can start building memberships and start building just connections between people that want to elevate their running, aside from the support that they already do get from high school coaches as well, too.
Now that you have kind of described what it is, how are you monetizing Humboldt Runners, and where do you see it ultimately being, and maybe being your main source of income?
Yeah, I think just mainstreaming it a little bit more, and maybe just having like multiple run clubs in different areas. I think
It's like franchising.
yeah, I think the really unique part about Humboldt Runners is that we provide jobs for other runners, and we pick up runners that are struggling, and they need a job. Also, undocumented runners that were like, hell yeah, we're gonna help back, and like have a little side job, and get provided some money. It's big, and so we've been having, I would say, like a good amount of athletes where we could give them some work and some skill building. I did a lot of clubs when I was in college and helping develop them, and even had at some point was like president for a club that had like 6 VPs and all had different finance, programming, recruitment, like all those things. So I think like just being able to learn those skills in college and being able to like find a fun way to provide that for other people through Humboldt Runners is the unique part. That I think that's how we could make money, is like we can have runners be able to provide host, lead runs, get paid for that, and which is not very heard of here or anywhere. A lot of the time you can get scholarships, but like to get paid to run a group and lead group runs, like that's unheard of. And I think it builds a lot more within that than we think about. That I think just having memberships and then having kiddos that we coach, whether if they're from here or a different state, like I think just having a female presence in this field is very very limited as well. So I think just me with my presence and like helping Humboldt Runners, and then also eventually mainstreaming it to something else, or selling it to some, I don't know, like there's so many endless things. There's so much more that I could provide to Humboldt Runners, I think, as well too, as I'm going through my credentials of like LCSW and BCBA. Because right now I think I could provide like nonprofit, just like workshops and stuff like that through Humboldt Runners. But I think to like actually make some good solid money and like work in the disability side of things, I think we got to get some credentials. So I think it works itself out there.
How many employees do you have, part-time or full-time?
Right now we have four employees.
Part-time?
Part-time, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, congratulations. That's actually really sick.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you build a business and then I think when I didn't have a job, it's really hard. So I think it's important as a business person to have a little like job, but then also to like have another job and then have side jobs. You know what I mean? Like it just, I think I've learned in my 26, 25 that you gotta not rely on just one source of income.
Yeah.
You just, the world is so uncalled for at any time that we don't know when the next pandemic gonna be. Just kidding.
True. How has it felt? Because I've always wanted to, I guess, have, some employees or coworkers or people to help me out with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How have you been able to, or like, how does that feel for you to know that somebody's livelihood depends on you from like a management perspective, or like basically a business perspective? Like what's the weight on your shoulders, and what kind of hunger does it give you to go out and get the work to be able to pay them and pay yourself a livable wage?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I haven't had a kid yet, but it's almost like equivalent to having a kid, where you're like, oh, like I got somebody like. There's some dependence now. I got to think straight. I gotta have more patience. I gotta be more flexible. I gotta be more understanding. Gotta take care of myself in the process, you know, so we don't burn out. It's like there's so many good things that I think come out of that I think it's just like the grind is like real. So it's like I feel like I don't really think about it too much. I just like get up and go. Like just get up, get running.
That's
figure
awesome.
out whatever after the run. And it's nice to have like a little bit of time before and after your run where there's just silence and you just get to take care of yourself. And I feel like it helps me just kind of manage the stress, because stress is the feeling of stress in itself. I feel like it could get worse, but it's just like the feeling of it is similar to everybody. Like stress is stress. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. It doesn't feel good.
I agree with you that having a business is kind of like, I guess, having like a kid or a pet or something. And like for all the parents, for all the real parents out there, like if that pisses you off, I'm so sorry. But it's a lot to handle because running
your kid
a business
is not the business. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's like a word figure of speech.
Yeah,
your kid is not a pet either. Okay.
But like in the comparison that a kid is similar to a business, like if that pisses you off, I'm sorry, but I think it's really hard because it depends. When you're a solopreneur, that business or kid depends on you to survive.
Yeah.
So it's really hard, and it's a big weight to carry because you have to make sure that it's making money and it's able to provide for you in the same way you have to provide for it. Because if you go on vacation, nobody's running your business. So just like if you go on vacation without your kid and you don't have a babysitter lined up, like how is that kid going to survive? So it's a weird balance. And it kind of, for me, it pushes me to really just say fuck all that to going on vacation, having a drink, go out and party. You know, I just want to focus on what I'm trying to build and take care of it and watch it grow and prosper.
Yeah, no, I think that's how I feel with Humboldt Runners. Is like it really just started off as like our own resource for myself, finding community, and then it turned into this like coaching ability to like be able to coach people that like looked up to what I'm doing and felt like what I was doing was right. And I tried to say a lot of the time, like, it's not me, it's the research. There's so much cool Olympic research books out there that I just read it and I say that's what we're going to do. And then we go do it, you know, and I think it's good for the soul to read some books that could elevate your career in a sense.
Do you have a business partner or like a right-hand man or woman running with you, or are you just soloing it?
I'm just soloing it. I think that sometimes maybe that's a barrier or a challenge or something. But also I think it's really cool for myself to make those decisions and be able to be flexible with my staff workers as well too, because life happens and sometimes it's not the main priority in their life, and that's okay, you know.
Running a business can be hard, and especially, you know, going at it alone. And you know, a good way to kind of get on your feet a little bit and kind of know what you're doing is coming down to your local I was about to say North Coast SBDC. Coming down to your local SBDC. Go ahead and finish it off.
Come on down to your local SBDC. If you have a passion, if you are very into something and you want to make it into a business, come on down to your local SBDC. We can help you out with that. We'd start you off with, you know, just the starter steps. What do you need to get started? And then you jump into some marketing. You know, how can you promote your business? How can you get sales? How can you bring in revenue? Once we got you some money, we'll get you some bookkeeping help. We'll learn how to process your finances, pay your taxes, do those things. We're here to help you. We're a free service. We do free one-on-one advising, and we have a team of 15 different specialists. So, you know, bookkeeping specialists, marketing specialists. I'm the startup specialist. So if you want to know what business licenses and permits you need to start your local business, that's what I do. yeah, a lot of different great services that we can provide here at the North Coast SBDC, and is 100% free for small business owners. Reach out. It's probably in your area. If you're not in Humboldt, if you are in Humboldt, it's going to be the North Coast SBDC. We'd love to have you. Back to the show.
Thank you, Rod.
I do, like, I go to mixers and different social events, and I, like, I'll get on the mic and speak.
Yeah.
So I kind of, like, that's like the 50th time I've done that, kind of spiel and, like, different variations and whatnot, depending on where I am. Yeah. But, it's a very, once you kind of have your script, you kind of just, it gets very robotic. And so I try to.
Sounded pretty official.
Yeah, and I try to do that on on all the podcasts. So
That's on every episode.
And we'd love to help you out with your business. And
there's definitely a lot of questions I got for sure already lined up.
Definitely. And so I did. I studied accounting here, and I did 2 tax seasons. So I worked under local CPAs doing taxes for, like, businesses like this, right, where there's not too much or very little or none at all finance involved, and that you're not borrowing any money, and it's just revenues and expenses. Like, it's that type of stuff is, that's my ballpark. That's, I know that stuff like the back of my hand. Finance can be tough though. Once you start taking out loans, like, it becomes this big mess of bookkeeping, and you have, then I'm like, you have to work with a bookkeeper. And sometimes people are like, do I even want to borrow? Like, I have this option to take out this commercial loan. I have good revenue. The bank likes me. They'll finance me. But is that, is it even in my best interest? Then you talk to an advisor, and they give you kind of that third party, opinion on, like, because people at the bank don't do this, but you could assume that somebody at the bank might try to push a loan on you because they get money. Not that they do that. But we can kind of help be that third party and figure out, okay, is that the best? And with anything, when it comes to hiring employees, firing employees, buying, selling a business, it's all stuff we can assist with. So
I love it.
We'll definitely get you signed on after this.
No, we need some help. For sure, yeah. It's
a big reason why we're doing this podcast. That I get to promote my services. He gets to promote AAA Productions, and we get to, it's kind of like our marketing, a marketing point for us. And and so we always like to promote our stuff. And
most people think they have a content problem. They actually have a clarity problem. In the modern economy, attention is the global currency. AAA Productions helps build repeatable content systems to scale your authority. Connect with us using the links in the description. Thank you, and back to the show. I also wanted to get into some rapid fire rounds that we do towards the end of our episodes. I want to try something different. We always try to reiterate a little bit. You got 1 second to answer these. It's true or false. Feel free to skip.
True or false.
And then explanations at the end.
All right.
Yeah, so if you want to star any of those as we go down the line, like if you want to skip them, or if you said true but there's explanation to them, you can just hit them with the star or something, so we can touch back on them. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Running a business is mentally harder than running a 10K.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah, no, it is true.
Okay.
That's so hard, but I get the 10K feel.
A master's degree is a requirement for a high-level career in 2026.
Yeah, it's almost becoming very low in a sense where, well, it's,
let's explain it.
Higher. Yeah.
Let's explain them at the end.
Yeah. True.
Humboldt County is the undiscovered capital of the West Coast distance running.
Yeah, low key, yeah, like the elite West Coast running.
Okay.
Like, they just gotta wait.
Consistency matters more than talent in the first year of business.
Oh, 100%. Consistency matters any year of your business.
If you can't manage your own time, you can't manage a team.
Yeah, that's true. Get better.
Social media. Social media is the most important tool for a local business today.
I think it's important, but it's not that important, so false.
Oh, okay, okay. Every entrepreneur needs a coach, regardless of their level.
Yeah, there's always someone above. Yeah.
Always a bigger fish.
Yeah, always a bigger dog.
Formal networking events are a waste of time compared to organic one-on-ones.
Just depends, but false. False because we do a lot more one-on-ones than we do
Okay.
groups. Yeah.
Burnout is just a lack of proper systems.
That topic.
We can touch back on it after this last one.
Brenna's the last. It's just a lack of proper. True. Sorry about it, but it's true. It's true. It's true.
You would do it all over again, even if there was no degree at the end.
Oh, false. No, I needed that damn degree.
Okay. These are actually pretty spicy. One of them that I want to touch back on real quick is number 8. Formal networking events are a waste of time compared to organic one-on-ones. I think that both are not a waste of time because I feel like you can accomplish the same thing. Like at a formal networking event like a mixer, you're still going one-on-one with the person and meeting them and getting to know them.
In a social setting.
Totally. What do you think? Which one of these did you want to touch back on?
That like running a business is mentally harder than running a 10K.
By the way,
Yeah.
how many miles is a 10K?
It is 6 miles, 6 point something.
Okay.
Yeah. That could probably be like a marathon. Training a marathon would be probably like the same mental field for a little bit of interval.
So you would say a 10K is too light compared to running a business.
Yeah. Like that's light. Like that's light work. Running a business is way harder. Running a business is like running like 5 marathons and a couple of 100-mile races or something. Like I think running a business is pretty mentally tough. You gotta like learn how to hit the bottom and get back up and like still do good.
True.
Do better.
I want to talk about number 6, social media. Yeah. So you said it's important, but it's not the most important.
Did you say false to that one?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
Tell me outside of social media. Tell me about your marketing strategy. What do you do to promote your business?
Yeah, we do a lot of I'd say like community, like local connections. We go into like the institutions a lot. I mean, I think by default we already had really good connections through Cal Poly Humboldt because I was there for 6 years, and then I coached for a year after that, and then even like CR got to like coach out there and get to like meet all the coaches, all the other coaches, the kiddos. I think both of those really both of those connections really helped.
What?
Sure. But I would say social media is not the main thing. I would say flyers, businesses, community, institutions, partnerships show way better. Like they're more of a focus. I think social media is what like they start off as like, oh, it's social media, like this is it, this is the job. But it's like, yeah, that could be the job if you like jump around and do that. But also I would say social media is like the very least thing that really matters at that point, because if you have partnerships and you got other ways of marketing through those partnerships in like events, like community events, I think the chamber does stuff, you know what I mean? So like that type of stuff, like that's more important in your business than social media. Social media is good, don't get me wrong. We use a lot of social media stuff, but I think when you start off, you think that's the starter pack. And then you start to realize like, wait, there's so many other things I need to do for my business that now you don't spend a lot of time in your social media. You're just like, whatever, like I got to do all this other stuff first to solidify the business, and then I'll go back to the social media, and that'll be an easy job for another person to like just pick up and do, like that's like a high school / college job you can do that can make some good money too,
Anybody in the audience wanted to get involved and join Humboldt Runners, how would they do that?
Yeah, well, they could just hopefully soon we can have a website. I heard there's a new website person in town. Um,
I heard those whispers too.
yeah, it's a rumor in town. So I'm curious to know. Yeah, I think once we get that website going, but I would be nice to build some like members and get some people to get connected to some resources and just elevate their running. But I would say just DM us, get connected if you're working on a goal for any type of race. If you're new to running, if you've been in the running, if you're post-collegiate, you're burned out and you don't know what to do, you want to get back to running eventually, like let's work out a plan. I think it's nice to have an accessible coach and also a real life athlete themselves too. So I think it's cool to have a coach athlete. It's very rare to have an athlete that is a coach. So I think that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have somebody teach you something when they've gone out and done it. And I think that was a really good final thought there for the podcast.
Yeah.
So we greatly appreciate you joining us today.
Thank
it
you
was
so
it was
much,
very
you
fun.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And thank you.
Thanks.